Hi guys, Stefan here from SXT Wellness. Today we're going to talk about vegetarian and vegan diets, sustainability and the environment. If you like this content, please don't forget to like the video and click the subscribe button. Let's get started. What is a vegetarian diet? Well, the vegetarian diet consists of getting your nutrients from fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, grains, and also animal derivatives such as cheese, milk, and eggs. Let's head over to our food guide and see what type of foods we can eat if we're going to follow a vegetarian diet. Hi guys, welcome to the Australian Healthy Eating Guideline Food Pyramid or Food Pie. As you can see here, we have different foods from different food groups and a bit of a portion of how much we should eat for those different foods. Let's run through it. As you can see here, in the left section, we have grains and cereal foods. So this consists of your oats, your muesli, your breads, your rices. If we go into the right hand side circle, we can see we have our vegetables and legumes and beans. So then down the bottom we have fruit. Down here again we have milk, yogurt and cheese. And then we have our kind of protein square. Okay, so if we're going to follow a vegetarian diet, what we're going to try to do is to get our nutrients from our grains, from our vegetables, from our fruit, from our milk, yogurt and cheese, which are our animal derivatives, meaning they come from animals, but they are not eating the actual animal. And over here we have tofu, which is from soybean, and we have our protein from chickpeas, mixed nuts, lentils, and kidney beans. So this is really a basic template in which we can acquire all our nutrients from the 5 different food groups. Let's go into an example of what it would be like to be a vegetarian. So if we look at this, what we've done is we've taken out the meat. Okay, so a vegetarian diet would look something like this. For breakfast, you could have your muesli with some whole grain bread. Then for lunch, you could have, another sandwich with some carrots, capsicums, onions, and some cheese, tofu, and yogurt. Then for afternoon snack, you can have a couple of pieces of fruit with some mixed nuts. Then for dinner, you can have vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, eggs, and also some lentils and kidney beans. And that's how a basic vegetarian diet would look like. Now, there are also some variations of the vegetarian diet. It doesn't have to be a strict military program. We can also go back and look at some things called being a pescatarian. And a pescatarian is someone who's going to eat the vegetarian diet, which consists of our grains, our vegetables, our fruits, our animal derivatives, our milks and cheeses, but also some fish. We've got some fish here in the bottom left. We've got some prawns. Okay, so a pescatarian is someone who's going to base their diet on a vegetarian food intake and have an additional piece of fish once a week, once every couple of weeks. We also have something called a flexitarian. A flexitarian who, again, the base of their diet is a vegetarian diet, all those food groups, but instead of eating red meat every day or every second day, it might be once a week, it might be once a fortnight, it might be once a month. Okay, so it doesn't have to be this strict regime when we talk about vegetarianism where you just have to exclude this and you can't have that. There are many ways to go about it, and there's lots of people who call themselves flexitarians where the majority of their nutrients is coming from fruits, vegetables, grains, and animal derivatives, and sometimes they eat red meat. Hi guys, welcome back, and let's go through some of the benefits of a vegetarian diet. Well, if you're eating a well-balanced vegetarian diet, it's typically low in saturated fats, high in antioxidants, high in fiber, and high in vitamins and minerals. Generally speaking, people who follow a vegetarian lifestyle have lower rates of obesity, lower rates of cardiovascular diseases, and cancers of the digestive system. However, the information regarding this is very difficult to study, and the reason is because many people who follow a vegetarian diet also may have higher levels of exercise, drink less alcohol, and smoke less than the general public. So it's very difficult to ascertain whether the vegetarian diet or the lifestyle is producing these benefits. What are some of the negatives of a vegetarian diet? Well, vegetarian diets may require more planning and preparation times than a meat-based diet, because generally you need to plan your diets regardless of whether you're vegetarian or not. But if you're eating a meat-based diet with fruits and vegetables, you don't necessarily have to worry about protein intake as much, or iron or zinc or these types of minerals. Okay. Now there is a risk of a lower intake of iron and zinc, as these are primarily found in meat. However, vegetarians who consume eggs and milk are rarely iron and zinc deficient. Okay, so that goes through the vegetarian diet. Let's go through the vegan diet. What's the vegan diet about? Well, the vegan diet aims to exclude all animal products and their derivatives, such as steak, eggs, cheese, and milk, while getting all your energy and nutrients from fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, and also vegetable oils. Let's head to the screen to give an example of what type of foods we can eat. So back to this screen here, the healthy eating guide. What we can see here is we have the vegetarian diet mapped out for us. Now let's take another step further and see what the vegan diet would look like. There you go. So with the vegan diet, you can see it's more restrictive than the vegetarian diet, and we've excluded animal products and also animal derivatives, milk, cheese, eggs. Okay, if we go back to vegetarian diet and just make another quick comparison, you can see here the vegetarian diet, you have your milk, your yogurts, your cheeses, and your eggs. Okay, they are not animal products themselves, but they come from animals, if that makes sense. And we can see here the vegan diet excludes not only the animals themselves, but also the food that animals produce, such as eggs, meat, and cheese. Okay, so that's what we can see there. If we go a vegan diet, very similar to the vegetarian diet, you know, cereals for breakfast, you know, a sandwich with some vegetables for lunch, some fruit, nuts, lentils, where we're going to get our protein, and kidney beans and chickpeas, where we're going to get a good source of protein. So the vegan diet really is more exclusive than the vegetarian diet. All right, welcome back again. So what are the benefits of a vegan diet? Well, it can be seen that a vegan diet has a much more stronger ethical stance on the animal welfare, as well as an environmental stance where we can reduce one's carbon footprint. So by not eating animals themselves, not eating animals' derivatives, such as milk and cheese, what we can do is hopefully reduce the demand for animal products, therefore hopefully reduce the need for suppliers to produce more cattle or more chickens to be in factory farms, etc. And as far as the environment goes, we know that producing meat costs a lot of money, costs a lot of water, costs a lot of energy. So producing animals in factory farms costs the environment large amounts. We also know that animals produce methane gas, which is a contributor to carbon emissions. Okay. What are some of the negatives of a vegan diet? Well, similar to a vegetarian diet, there's a risk of lower intake of iron, as this is primarily found in meat, and it's found in meat in the highest qualities. Okay, so iron in plants is poorly absorbed, so total iron intake may need to be increased. Okay, consuming foods such as fortified iron cereals could be Uncle Toby's Plus with iron. Pinto beans, flour tortillas can also increase iron intake. Okay. Second of all, with being a vegan, there's a risk of vitamin B12 deficiency. This is found in the soil that animals consume. Therefore, vitamin B12 is almost exclusively found in animal products. The issue with this is the deficiency may take years to surface, before you can really understand whether you've got it or not, which is, six of one, half dozen the other. Additionally, fortified soy and other products containing vitamin B12 may be misleading, as these may not be in their active form that's best absorbed in the body. So a lot of people that I know who are vegans, what they generally do is they go down to the doctors and they get a shot of vitamin B12, which can be quite expensive. So there you have a bit of a background on the vegan diet, some foods you can eat, positives and negatives. One of the questions is, why do people choose to become vegan or choose to go down the vegetarian path? What are the reasons? Is it the environment? Is it ethics? Is it something they want to try? They don't like meat? What are some of the reasons? So let's just go through some quick questions here, as are the vegan and vegetarian diets actually better for the environment? Well, a study by Marlowe and Hayes in California indicated that a vegetarian-based diet has less of an environmental impact, as it uses less water, less land, less pesticides, fertilizers, fossil fuels, and generates less greenhouse gases than non-vegetarian diets. Vegetarian diets also reduce emissions of greenhouse gases, as mentioned before, because cows produce methane, which is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. Are vegan and vegetarian diets actually ethical for animals? Well, generally speaking, by not consuming meat or meat derivatives, you are lowering the demand for animals to be factory farmed and produced. Therefore, the general hypothesis is that these diets are more ethical, as they're reducing harm to animals and reducing the necessity to cause more harm, as you're reducing the cycle of an animal's life. However, I want to go into my opinion on the ethics of a vegan and vegetarian diet. So, this is just my opinion. It's not right nor wrong. It's just what I think. I think that animals and humans live in an ecosystem where we coexist with one another. Ecosystems contain food chains whereby organisms that use sunlight to generate food go all the way up to apex predators such as sharks and bears that eat other animals for food. The food chain consists of animals eating animals as well, and humans eating animals, and unfortunately it also goes the other way around. So to say that eating an animal is unethical in some ways goes against the reality of the existence of this food chain. But let's dive a bit deeper. Hunter and gathering lifestyles, which include going out, sourcing fruits and vegetables, and also hunting animals, predate 2000 BCE, and they include also living a semi-nomadic lifestyle where you travel, for months on time, you settle in an area, and then you travel again. This meant that people were moving in accordance to season and food availability, which allows animals and plants to regenerate, as they would not totally obliterate an area just by living there, creating whole cities and destroying animals. However, many current farming practices are no longer focused on land and animal population rejuvenation. For instance, factory farms which place chickens, pigs and cattle in inhumane conditions for large portions of their lives, which can lead to disease and stress on the animals. Additionally, overfishing, which is potentially far worse than the preceding industries I just mentioned, because we cannot overtly see the changes in marine life, potentially have far more damage to the oceans and our ecosystems than we first thought, because we cannot see the oceans. It's quite easy to see a video, of a guy's going into a factory farm and there's cows being slaughtered. It's a lot difficult to see that video in the ocean. So are vegan and vegetarian diets and lifestyles, are they better for the animals? Okay, well, generally the evidence suggests they are, but there's also a catch, and I'm just going to give two sides to the coin, which I think it's important. Let's look at the lifestyle of a product that many vegans and vegetarians would use: the iPhone. The iPhone is made from silicon, silver, and copper for the soft and hardware, aluminium for the case, lithium, cobalt, and aluminium for the battery. Many of the minerals which I just mentioned are called rare earth minerals, and they're actually mined in China, which contribute to the destruction of land and the environment. With approximately 22 million tons of toxic waste per year being produced during this process. This has a negative effect on the soil, the water, the plants, and it causes animals to die who are living in that area. Additionally, the ships used to transport the waste are powered by heavy fuel oil, the most polluting form of fuel. their contribution to global pollution is considerable. One ship emits the equivalent of 50 million cars worth of sulfur dioxide. This is information from Peter Boyd. The point that I'm making here is it's not a bulletproof system. The point that I'm making here is vegetarians and vegans who don't consume animals directly may indirectly, through the purchasing or the going about of life in this capitalistic globalization type of world that we're living in, they may still be killing animals even if it's not something they really want to do. Okay, so they're still having an impact on the environment, and it's not a bulletproof system. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to take away the guilt. I want to take away the black and white view. I want to take away this idea that you have ethics over this side and non-ethics. You know, I want to take this idea that it's black and that it's white, that you've got to be vegan to save the animals, and if you're eating meat, you're just killing all your no. What I want to say is that during the globalization, the 9 to 5, the iPhones, the laptops, the world that we live in currently, we are, through the purchase of items, unless you're living in the bush and you're living off the land as a traditional indigenous person, whether it be in Australia, Africa, Indonesia, wherever you are, unless you're literally living off the land, to some degree, you know, we are all contributing to the greenhouse gas, to climate change, etc. And so vegan and vegetarian diets, they have less of an impact on the environment, which is awesome, which is great. And they have less of a negative impact on animals. But to say that it's a perfect world and anyone who's vegan is some perfect person, something I really want to change, because it creates this, you know, you versus me, us versus them. It doesn't create an inclusive environment where people can learn and say, hey, maybe I can do this, you know? And so what I've kind of, you know, thought about at the end of this video, you know, we've run through vegan, vegetarian diets, what they are, some positives and negatives. We've run through some examples. What I want to talk about is, if you did want to go down this path, you know, I support people who eat meat because I like to eat meat. I support people who are vegan, vegetarian, but it doesn't have to be this black and white, you know, you're bad if you eat meat, you're good if you don't eat meat. It doesn't have to be like that. And so if you do care about animals, but you don't think that you're going to be able to withstand the vegan diet because it's too strict. Maybe, you know, especially with young women, we know that young women are losing iron on a monthly basis. We know that young people are growing, whether it be calcium, whether it be iron. We want our young people, and especially old people, to be, you know, getting all the nutrients they can, because, you know, they're growing, or, you know, they're losing mineral through poor absorption because you're older, etc. So if you don't want to be a strict vegan, or you don't want to go down the path because you're not sure how to go about it, but you still care about animals, you still care about the environment, it doesn't have to be this black and white approach. You can still donate your money to Animals Australia, the RSPCA, and eat meat on occasion. This means you can still support animals without potentially compromising your health if you don't think you can sustainably and efficiently go down this diet path. And if you're worried about being a hypocrite, don't worry, we're all hypocrites, okay? I run a nutrition channel. A couple of weeks ago, my mate's Bucks party, I was, you know, smoking a couple of durries, having a couple of drinks, and I'm not perfect, okay? I'm not some perfect person. I try to make sure that, you know, the most of the time I'm following and I'm doing what I say, and I say what I do, and I say what I do, and I do what I say most of the time, but I'm not perfect, okay? So for 2 years before that, I didn't drink, and I didn't smoke. So once every 2 years isn't the end of the world. So if you're worried about being a hypocrite by eating animals, but yet you're donating to the RSPCA, don't worry, because I'm a hypocrite. We're all hypocrites. Nobody's perfect. The only thing we can do is try to do better and try to do less. So if you're donating to the RSPCA, but you still eat a cheeseburger here and there, you're not a murderer. You're still helping animals, you know, whether it's going down once a month to the dog shelter. So it doesn't have to be this kind of black and white, vegans versus everyone. You know, that's what, you know, in the nutrition field, I hear this talk, you know, you got to be this, you got to be that, and it just doesn't have to be this black and white kind of picture. You know, you can support animal welfare and still look after yourself by eating red meat with vitamin C and ensuring that you get what the nutrients you need to get. So that's basically my synopsis. Hopefully it helped in regards to you know, the vegan, vegetarian, and the ethics about those diets. Please let me know what you think. Please comment below. If you have any suggestions about, you know, what you want to talk about, what you want to hear, whether it's food labels, diets, the keto diet, you know, everyone's talking about keto. please let me know because I want to do the videos that people want to listen to. Otherwise, that's it for today. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below on what you want to hear.